Coming up on today's episode of Airborne Unlimited, Aspen Avionics hits the market with a simple solution to ADS-B. Chicago OHare gets lots of noise complaints from a few people. And large Atlanta church hopes to buy a new G650. Welcome to Airborne Unlimited. I'm Ashley Hale. Great news, ADS-B fans! Aspen Avionics has just announced that they have received FAA approval for their new ATX100G transceiver. Their new ATX100G single-band ADS-B transceiver receives and transmits on 978 MHz Universal Access Transceiver frequency. The transceiver has an internal WAAS GPS sensor and provides a solution for aircraft equipped with a Mode AC or Mode S transponder without a compatible WAAS GPS navigation receiver. In addition, it receives ADS-B in, weather, traffic, and it meets the ADS-B out mandate below 18,000 feet. The ATX100G is compatible with Aspen Evolution primary flight displays and multifunction displays. The ATX100G is now available and can be purchased through an Aspen Avionics authorized dealer. It retails for $4,995. It looks like 6 households in the Chicago area are practicing the old adage of the squeaky wheel gets the most grease. A handful of residents living near Chicago OHare International Airport have apparently been busy on their telephones and computers. An official report indicates that of 39,000 complaints made to the Chicago Department of Aviation's Airport Noise Management System, 63%, or some 25,000, came from 6 addresses. It's reported that complaints may be filed either by telephone or online, and an online complaint takes about 1 minute to complete. Therefore, each of the addresses would have had to spend about 6 hours per day to file that number of complaints. However, it's also postulated that these could be automated entries that would average some 360 complaints per day, including weekends. Take note, folks, this is just a little bit of the nonsense that aviation interests have to contend with each and every day. We couldn't make up stuff this crazy if we tried. After the break, Church says they need a new G650 to spread the word.
Since the early days of powered flight, pilots have struggled with landing in crosswinds. In fact, crosswinds and wind gusts cause more landing accidents than fog, thunderstorms, and icing combined. That's where the Redbird X-Wind SE comes in. By placing pilots in gusty crosswind conditions for extended periods of time, the X-Wind SE gives instructors all the time they need to teach the pilot the proper techniques for landing in crosswind conditions. For more information on Redbird X-Wind SE and Redbird's entire line of flight training devices, visit www.redbirdflightsimulations.com.
Sandia introduces the new SAI 340 Quattro standby instrument. TSO'd airspeed, attitude, altitude, and slip. With integral backup battery, safety never looked so good. See it now at www.sandia.aero.
Welcome back. If you'd like to support Airborne Unlimited, send an email to jim@aero-news.net. The pastor of a megachurch in Atlanta is asking his congregation and many others to make a relatively small contribution towards a major purchase. Creflo Dollar says his ministry needs a Gulfstream G650. In a video produced by the church, the ministry says if 200,000 people give $300 each, they can raise $60 million towards the cost of a new airplane. List price from Gulfstream for a G650 is about $65 million. It's not clear in the report what type of airplane they are replacing. The video warns that if the campaign is not successful, quote, Pastor Creflo and Taffy and the World Changers Church International will be unable to blanket the globe with the gospel of grace, end quote. It's reported that the World Changers Church was investigated in 2007 by the U.S. Senate Committee on Finance for alleged abuse of the church's nonprofit status. Every Tuesday, we're going to look ahead at some of the most interesting events in the aviation universe. Here's this week's Aero-Calendar. Recent reports have shown that some air shows have had to shut down. However, it looks like this coming weekend of March 21st and 22nd provide some good news for air show goers. Here's just a few of what's planned. The U.S. Navy Blue Angels will soar over Melbourne, Florida this weekend at the Melbourne Air and Space Show at Melbourne International Airport. An all-star lineup of some of the nation's top air show acts will perform. The Thunder in the Valley Air Show in Columbus, Georgia is being held at the Columbus Airport. They'll fill the skies this weekend with World War II warbirds and air show performers that are at the top of the must-see list. This weekend, we feature an air show and an air race in Texas. The 8th annual Texoma 100 Air Race kicks off the Sport Air Racing League's 2015 season. North Texas Regional Airport will again host all the activities. And the 11th annual Jasper Air Show and Fly-In will be held at the Jasper County Bell Field Airport. This show will feature the World War II B-25 Devil Dog and Skip Stewart flying his aerobatic routine in Prometheus. Enjoy the air shows. After these messages, jets collide during an air show practice.
AML's patent-pending wireless induction charging system eliminates confusion over those charging cables, cuts down cockpit cable clutter, and allows you and your passengers to fly cordless and eliminate the cable nightmare. www.aviationmodificationleaders.com.
The KSN 770 is an affordable, WAAS-enabled integrated MFD with a flexible hybrid user interface from Bendix King. Get your fingers on the 770's perfect blend of touchscreen and hard buttons. Easily control your GPS navigation, Navcom, weather, traffic, and terrain in any condition. For more information, go to bendixking.com.
There's a difference between charting a steady course and pushing for the ceiling. And for nearly a century, Hartzell Propeller has been defining that difference. It's in our passion for engineering and research and our dedication to testing the limits of performance. We are built on honor. We are Hartzell Propeller.
Welcome back. With so much news coming out of the aviation industry, we've summarized some other interesting stories in a brief segment we call Around the Patch. Tragedy occurred as two KT-1B aircraft of the Indonesian Air Force's Jupiter Aerobatics team collided in mid-air while practicing for an air show. Fortunately, all the pilots managed to eject and land safely. XCOR Aerospace has named Executive John H. Gibson II as Chief Executive Officer and President of the company. Mr. Gibson succeeds Jeff Greason, who is transitioning to Chief Technology Officer. An FAA SAIB has been issued to owners and operators of certain transport category airplanes concerning potential safety improvements to Honeywell enhanced ground proximity warning systems, having a specified software indication number. Installing later software could improve safety. One of Google Loon's balloons goes down in central Mexico last week. It's part of Google's experiment to provide worldwide internet service. Local authorities have notified Google to retrieve the balloon and electronic gear. Well, that's it for today's trip around the patch. Let's move on to the rest of the news. Wow, it's getting really weird out there in the real world. The latest example of aero craziness? Residents of Augusta, Georgia, who may have received UAVs as holiday gifts, may find themselves unable to operate them in most areas of the city if a proposed ordinance is passed. And other RC aircraft are likely to get caught up in the ban as well. The City Commission will consider an ordinance that would ban all flight of remote-controlled aircraft other than at sanctioned model aircraft fields. It's reported that the all-knowing ordinance calls the aircraft unacceptable threats to public safety and privacy, and bans their use without the written permission of the FAA and the City Commission. But beyond just a ban, the ordinance would give the city the authority to confiscate the aircraft and fine operators $1,000. Apparently, Augusta is not an aviation-friendly city. Well, that's our program for Tuesday, March 17th. Remember to get comprehensive real-time 24/7 coverage of the latest aviation and aerospace stories anytime at aero-news.net. Remember, Airborne Unlimited is streamed daily, Monday through Friday. Join us in a growing roster of over 100 outstanding industry associations and organizations for the best in aviation and aerospace news. I'm Ashley Hale. Thanks for watching.